Welcome to Political Beatdown. I'm Ben Meiselas, joined by Michael Cohen. First and foremost, we hope that everybody had a restful, peaceful family or friend or taken personal time filled new year. I hope you are rested and ready for the fight in 2025. Let's go, Michael Cohen. It was also a tragic day where we heard and learned about the horrific terrorist attack in New Orleans in Louisiana. And our heart goes out to all of the victims and the family members of the victims, to the entire city and the state, and anybody, frankly, who was affected. But Cohen, we saw immediately Trump and MAGA trying to use the horrific attack, which took about 14 lives, 30 people injured, many seriously injured. They were using that to try to attack immigrants and migrants right away. And then there was also the incident that took place in front of the Trump building in Las Vegas, which MAGA and right-wing media were spreading a lot of lies and conspiracies about. And it turns out that the individual in Vegas who shot himself committing suicide there, is what it's believed to be right now, was a Trump supporter, was somebody who was out there who would criticize and attack Biden and the Clintons and make these deep state type posts. Both the individuals, the terrorist in New Orleans, Shamsuddin Jabbar, 42-year-old, who was in the military, United States citizen, lived in Texas, worked for businesses in Texas, an American. Matthew Livelsberger, also the individual who took his own life at the Trump building in Vegas. You see them with the American flag tattoos there. Special Forces, American, and MAGA was trying to use these incidents. And frankly, a lot of MAGA still is trying to use these incidents to attack immigrants. And let me just read for you Trump's post. Then I'll turn it over to you, Michael Cohen. This is what Trump posted right after, or not, or within a few hours, actually, after the New Orleans incident, enough to know that you don't make a post like this unless your goal is to use these events as ways to attack the American people and divide our country. He wrote, he goes, "When I said that the criminals coming in are far worse than the criminals we have in our country, that statement was constantly refuted by Democrats and the fake news media, but it turned out to be true. The crime rate in our country is at a level that nobody has ever seen before. Our hearts are with all of the innocent victims and their loved ones, including the brave officers of the New Orleans Police Department. The Trump administration will fully support the city of New Orleans as they investigate and recover from this act of pure evil." And Cohen, the first part of that statement is just all disinformation and lies. And I remember there was once a time in our country where if there was a terrorist attack or a national or natural disaster, that was never a political issue. We'd rally around each other. This MAGA mutation has made everything wedge issues to divide. Cohen, let me toss it to you.
First of all, there are no words that can be expressed for a senseless act like this one. I mean, using this vehicle in New Orleans. I mean, I know so many of my son's friends who went to Tulane, who would have been there. I know so many people that are there even right now. I mean, my God, there's just no words. That it's a stupid thing to happen, and followed then by, of course, the explosion in front of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas by yet another member of our armed service. This is no way to start off 2025. Let me say it that way. As far as, and Jamie, if you could put that up for just one quick second, what we were just showing, the tweet by Trump. There's so many things I want to just break this apart. You're right, Ben. The first third of this is completely inaccurate. When I said that the criminals coming in are far worse than the criminals we have in our country, that statement was constantly refuted by Democrats and the fake news. media. That's not true. But it turned out to be true according to Trump. That also isn't true. Throw it up again for one quick second. I want to take this apart because I have a point I want to make. The crime rate in our country is at a level that nobody has ever seen before. Our crime rate right now in this country is at its lowest, by the way, in at least the last 20 years. Now, yeah, our hearts are all with the innocent people and so on. But the last part is a part that really offends me the most. Throw that up one last time. All right. That the Trump administration will fully support the city of New Orleans as they investigate and recover from this act of pure evil. Let me be very clear to all of you, our brigaders. You could drop that down. Right now, we're still in a Biden administration for another 20 days. Okay? So there is no Trump administration. And my hope, my prayer is that, and I'm certain that our incredible law enforcement will already have this thing resolved and settled before inauguration. This is just a terrible, terrible post by Trump. And while obviously Trump put it out and so on, it's the people around him that we need to be focusing on even more than Trump. And you say, really? Yeah, because they're the ones that are bringing it to him. Let me say this to you. It's not like Trump got a phone call from the FBI or from Secret Service talking about whether it was the explosion of the Cybertruck or whether it was the Bin Jabbar who mowed down people using a vehicle. He saw it on Fox News. He saw it on the news, and the news was wrong. Therefore, he got it wrong. And this is the problem. The folks around him in 2015, 16, 17, when I was still in the camp, the first thing I would have said to him is before you drop a tweet, a post like that, give me 30 minutes. Give me an hour. I need to verify this with more than just what you saw on television. In fact, Fox News fucked this up so badly. They messed this up so badly. They actually went on television and they apologized for their mistake. But is apology enough? The answer is no, because this is the concept now that is in the head of too many people. This is a problem with the people that are around him. He has incompetent people who only want to satisfy him and his immediate need within which to control the media. Donald Trump said that this is, again, as a result of, and they even went ahead and they claimed that the guy who mowed people down, that he was an illegal immigrant who came in through this area in Texas. Inaccurate, not true. He's American born. I mean, this is the problem, the misinformation, the disinformation, the malinformation. It's so inaccurate that I don't even know where we're going to be over the course of the next 4 years.
Well, Cohen, I guess the only part that I disagree with you about is I'm not saying that you're not criticizing Trump strong enough by saying that it's these other people. Perhaps I am.
No. I said this is Trump. He's the one who put it out. However, he didn't have the information. You know, Ben, when we're preparing for this show, you do your information. I do my information, and we'll talk about certain topics in advance of coming before our brigaders. That's what we do. We have individuals that are helping, and they'll send us certain newspaper articles and so on. There's a support staff. No one person can do. I certainly hold him accountable for his post. Don't get me wrong, but they put it in front of him and his need to be first out. Again, I know him so well. His need to be first out with the story, to control the story, to be a headline on somebody else's tragedy. That's the point. That no president does this on his own. There's a team, and I'm saying his team is incompetent.
And I'm saying I blame that entirely on him versus his team, even because to me, a leader assembles the team. And as the leader of this network, if there's someone on my team who is providing lies or is not telling things accurately or is somehow undermining the work of others, or what have you, or not doing the work, you name it, whether that's me in a leadership role in this network or me when I was a partner at a law firm and there were associates who reported to me and law clerks who reported to them and paralegals who reported to them. Ultimately, it was my name that was on the legal filing.
Yep.
You
And
know,
that's why I
so
hold him accountable. I
okay,
hold him
so
accountable for his narrative. I'm just saying, while I hold him accountable for that, right,
mhm.
we all know that he's impetuous. We know that he doesn't read. What ended up happening here is people came running to him with the Fox News story, probably after he saw it on Fox News. And then he decided he wanted to be the controlling name in that based upon his social media post. And nobody is there to stop him. Nobody's there to say to him, like you do with a child, you say, don't stick your finger in the socket. Nothing good's going to come out of it. He doesn't have anybody there within which to pull back on his most worst impulse.
You know, what's interesting though, too, though, is you said, you know, it's not like he gets FBI reports or, you know, he didn't ask the Secret Service. The reality is, though, is that as a president-elect, and again, I don't like saying that, but he's the president-elect, he actually has access to that right now.
Yes.
President Biden has made this transition the exact opposite of what Trump made the transition for Biden. Biden's opened up these resources, and Biden said to me when he interviewed, he goes, that's what you do when you have this job. And the only person who didn't do it was Donald Trump to me. I'm going to be at the inauguration and I'm going to do what my duty is in this office, which is to make the transition go as smooth as I can make it. Now, and I think what Biden realizes there, and you're like, Biden, why are you doing that? Because I think President Biden also realizes that by doing that, and here's an example of it, Trump is not even going to avail himself to that and let Trump be Trump in a way and make the mistakes that he's going to make and don't give an excuse to blame you. And, you know, here Trump has the ability to reach out to the Secret Service
Ben,
or to get the briefing and find out.
so first of all, you're 100% correct. The second you become president-elect, you're automatically entitled to debriefings on a daily basis. The reason for that is the smooth transition. It's not even something that Trump could have stopped. President-elect or Biden could have stopped it for Trump or vice versa. It doesn't work that way. President-elects, in order to have a smooth transition based upon all of the mishigas that's going on in the world today, that they have to be given the information. But the reason that I was just, and I think we should drop the topic and move on. But when I was there in the inner circle, I can't tell you how many times that I would see tweets that he was going to put out. And I would turn around and I would say to him, I'm like, Mr. Trump, you can't put this out. First of all, it's factually inaccurate. Second of all, it's racist, it's sexist, it's misogynistic, whatever it might have been. It's Islamophobic, it's homophobic, it's transphobic, whatever. And I would say, I wouldn't put this out, or I would rewrite it. And then he would sometimes, not all, but sometimes he would say to me, why is this wrong? I said, give me a minute. I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you why it's wrong. And I can't tell you how many times then either it was drastically changed or scratched off and not put out. That's the point that I'm trying to make, that we already know he's impetuous when it comes to this. It's like those fingers start moving and it doesn't matter what it says. Anything to blame Joe Biden, anything to denigrate the Democrats, anything to denigrate Kamala Harris, anything to denigrate you and Midas Touch Network, whoever, me, it doesn't matter. Anything to denigrate somebody, he's all about it. But here, if somebody would have said, I wouldn't put this out right now, we don't have confirmation. And by the way, Ben, you're 100% right. He could have easily gone to the head of his Secret Service detail, and he could have said, hey, do me a favor. Go find out what's the story on this thing. Instead, he saw it on television. Therefore, you see it on television. Therefore, it is, right?
Let me show you some other posts, though. So Marjorie Taylor Greene goes, New Orleans terrorist attacker is said to have come across the border in Eagle Pass 2 days ago. Shut the border down. Don Jr. reposts this. Again, that's, to be clear, what Marjorie Taylor Greene said there was absolutely false. This thing on X, which is formerly Twitter, called Insider Paper, which makes it look like, oh, this must be a real thing, goes, breaking. Federal law enforcement sources tell Fox the New Orleans attack suspect came through Eagle Pass, Texas 2 days ago. The suspect's citizenship status is not yet confirmed. Fox News. And then Don Jr. responds to that. Biden's parting gift to America, migrant terrorists. Then you have MAGA Republican Senator from Missouri, Josh Hawley, goes, after the horrific attack in New Orleans, Alejandro Mayorkas needs to be called to testify before the Senate immediately. Mayorkas is the head of Homeland Security cabinet post. He needs to testify before the Senate immediately before Biden leaves office. Accountability. Rob Schmidt, one of these MAGA right-wing propagandists, goes, great start to the year. Democrat open border policies welcome a horror show in New Orleans. Don't expect an apology. They'll respond with the middle finger, working tirelessly to block immigration reform. And as our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, explains, so we can now add a new one to this list of Fox, Trump, and MAGA, falsely claiming a criminal act was a migrant who just crossed the border. And you remember a year ago, Michael Cohen and Brigaders, there was a car crash near the Canadian border, and all the MAGA Republicans said it was a migrant terrorist who tried to blow up the bridge in Canada. It was actually just an American, or a guy who was coming back from a casino, rather. The Buffalo mass shooting, MAGA said it was a false flag. The bridge disaster, terrorist attack. The Super Bowl parade shooting, they blamed it on migrant terrorists. It was an American. The Gonzaga Hoops team buses, migrant invasion. And again, look, Cohen, even after, I think we've got this video of MAGA Mike Johnson. This is from today. So we now know the truth. We know that the terrorist was a Texan, from America, born and raised, served in the Army. But that doesn't even stop them. And Fox had to retract what it said.
But Ben, can I say something here for a sec? The point I was trying to make when I was rereading the post is simply the fact that when Trump puts something out, it explodes. It becomes like what Stalin used to say. The more that you repeat a lie, the more the lie becomes the truth. And that's the problem here. Whether he meant to lie or whether it was an inadvertent mistake, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Accuracy, facts matter, because now you have Marjorie Toilet Greene out there continuing to regurgitate the lie over and over again. You have others like Newsmax regurgitating the inaccurate information. You have Don Jr., who inaccurately continued to regurgitate the lie. This is the point, because there are too many MAGAs that don't read, that they don't investigate. They hear it, they see it, it comes up on their feed. That's it. Therefore, it's true. What happens now if you get one of these crazies that decides to start going after migrants simply because it's retaliation for what just happened there in New Orleans? This is the whole problem. This is why, Ben, why I compliment Midas Touch Network all the time, why I compliment all of the assets on this network, because facts matter. And we actually go out of our way to ensure that the information that we give to you is accurate.
One of the things, though, and it bugs me a lot, because we're critical of the lies, that we objective lies, and because we're giving you objective data, when these other media rating organizations try to describe what it is that we do, because we're very critical and we debunk the lies on the right. They position us and basically are like, oh, they're the adversaries of that content. So there's some far left bias going on, or this is a leftist thing, or or these guys are just like the left-wing version of the lies that I read for you. And for me, I go, look, I take my job here of getting the facts right incredibly seriously. And if we get the facts wrong, we go on and we say we got the facts wrong. And very rarely has that ever happened. But if it has to happen, it happens. There are things, analysis of court cases, analysis of the Constitution, analysis of Michael Cohen and I having disagreements on things, us giving you predictions of what we think is going to happen that may upset you. And you may go, but Ben, you need to fight harder. Why are you saying those things? Can't you? And I said, because as a lawyer, as someone who has devoted myself to the pursuit of the truth, I have to give you the accurate information, whether that's going to make you happy or whether that's not going to make you happy. That my goal is to give you accurate data. And so, Cohen, when we give people this list of other things that the Republicans do, it's not just a matter of them not reading. It's that they start with the narrative, the MAGA Republicans, of how do we undermine Biden and Democrats, and how do we otherize immigrants and migrants. Everything becomes an attack on migrants. I want to get your perspective, Cohen.
Before we go to ad break, I just want to say it's not just Republicans. All right. Many of the Democrats make mistakes as well. But here's the difference. They don't compound it by refusing to acknowledge that it's a mistake. That's the one big difference that you tend to find.
Next week, Michael Cohen and I will be holding that meeting on Patreon. Let's hold it on Tuesday, the day of our next show. We just waited to do it this week because we were getting a lot of messages that people were away, they were taking time off, and so we figured we didn't want to alienate people who wanted to join. So patreon.com/political beatdown. We'll post that secret link. Hey, Jeremy, just remind our team to post that link today if you can.
What do you think we're going to do it? Are we going to do it after the show? We're going to do it right before the show? What are you thinking? Maybe after?
Well, let's do this. During the ad break, let's ask our brigaders to tell us. Should we do it before the show in the morning, or you want us to do it immediately after the show on Tuesday? Let us know.
Yeah,
also,
throw it in
a
the
reminder
right now so we know what's the best time. Make sure you put Eastern Standard or Pacific Standard Time as well.
Yeah, because Cohen and I are on different coasts, and I'm sure you all are as well, and some from different countries. Also, check out at the Michael Cohen Show YouTube channel. It's doing great, and you get some great perspectives from Cohen there. We'll be right back after our first and only break of the show.
You know when you discover a new binge-worthy show or a song that you bump on repeat and you have to share with your friends so they can experience just how awesome it is? I mean, that's kind of what it feels like when you discover that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless service for $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. I mean, it's such an awesome deal that there's no way you can keep it to yourself. Me, I love my Mint Mobile. $15 a month. Literally, it's insane. I mean, friends don't let friends overpay for wireless. So say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plan and switch right now to Mint Mobile. I mean, Mint Mobile is here to rescue you and your squad with premium wireless plans. Again, starting at just $15 a month. And all plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. And you use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with you and all your existing contacts. So ditch right now the overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal, and you get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new customer offer of your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go right now to mintmobile.com/beat. That's MINTMOBILE.com/beat. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/beat. $45 upfront payment required. That's equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabyte on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
Welcome back to Political Beatdown. Shout out to our pro-democracy sponsors. So, Cohen, I want to talk to you about this New Year's event at Mar-a-Lago. A few things happened. First, Donald Trump was asked about his perspective on H-1B visas, and Trump lied and said that he always supported H-1B visas. He's always thought it was a great program, and he thinks it's very important to bring in foreign labor. I'm not going to show the video because I pledged not to show Trump videos, but on our YouTube channel. But we did a good comparison. Trump in 2016 saying he was against H-1B visas. Trump in 2020 saying that he just created a concept of a plan that was basically going to eliminate H-1B visas and get rid of them, and that never will those jobs not go to Americans again, that he was going to have Americans fill all of those jobs. And then Trump 2024. That was one thing that happened. You also, and if everyone wants to see it, you can look at it on any of the social media platforms where you watch Midas Touch. You'll see it there. I made people a promise. I'm not showing Trump video or audio, so I'm sticking with that promise. But Cohen, I couldn't also help but feel as I was watching this New Year's event and just seeing people at Mar-a-Lago like Vanilla Ice and all of this kind of right-wing MAGA like grifter world there. And also just seeing as they kept playing the YMCA on loop and Trump's doing the stupid hand dance and Elon Musk looks bored. Like it just felt to me that it felt weak. It felt like even though these people, you know, are coming into power and that should be like the epicenter of power, it still felt like a C-list event. It didn't feel big. It felt small. And it's not just I'm a critic of Trump. You had Lara Trump singing out of pitch, like horrific music, like stealing Tom Petty's music here, like this. Let's play it. I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. No, I'll stand my ground, won't be turned around, and I'll keep this world from dragging me down. Gonna stand my ground, and I won't back down. And to be fair,
won't back down.
You know what it reminds me of, Ben? I apologize for making the audience endure more than 5 seconds.
Well, you know what this reminds me of? And every single one of our brigaders I know will understand exactly where I'm going with this. I remember when we were kids. I have, I have 3 siblings. One is 7 years younger, so he really wasn't part of the shtick. But my older sister, my younger sister, and I were all approximately 1 year apart from each other. When my father would have people come over, generally it was dinners with other doctors that were on the board that he was on for Long Island College Hospital. We would practice all day long, like the fucking Brady Bunch. I would take drumsticks and just bang on the garbage pail, and my sisters would sing and the other one would dance, and they have to sit there and you have to just nod your head because you're in somebody's house. I mean, do you see the faces on the people as Laura was singing when I was watching it? All I could think of is the way we used to force like my parents' friends to watch us when we were kids. And we would perform. Here you're at Mar-a-Lago. You're at a mansion where you're paying like $100,000 a night. in order for the New Year's event. Talking about crazy. You're paying a fortune to be there. I remember when I was working at the Trump org and we had a little issue. It was supposed to be Celine Dion was performing, not Lara Trump. Unfortunately, Celine got sick and she wasn't able to do it. But not only does he charge in order to have you come there and be serenaded by Lara Trump, he's even charging now to have dinner with him and to pray with him. That's the craziest thing that I've ever heard. I don't know if you saw this. They're having a prayer session, a Trump inauguration event. They're charging, get a load of this, $100 grand for donors to pray with him. To pray with him. I mean, this is spectacular. This puts the 59.99 Trumpy Bible to shame. I mean, you're talking about $100 grand a person to come pray with him. I think that's amazing. When I say that I understand this, I was very involved in bringing the evangelical community to him. Jeremy, if you have the photo, this comes right out of the personal stock of Michael Cohen. I sent it to Jeremy to your email if you have it, but it comes right out of my personal stock where all these 100 plus evangelical preachers from around the world laid hands on him and prayed. And
great work, Michael.
Thank you very much.
Great work, Michael. Seriously.
But now they're charging $100 grand to pray with them. I just think that's, I don't even know how to describe it. I really don't.
Well, look, I would describe it as anything that evangelical base claims that they support and purport to stand for. In supporting Donald Trump, it just reveals that it's all a fake. It's all a fraud. It's all a charade. It's all about power. It's all about money. And it doesn't shock me that some of the griftiest of the grifty people within that community who have their own kind of mega churches, which seems to prioritize money over the word of their religion, that they would flock to him. To me, it's about power. But going back to the point that I'm making, it's like, look, you are now, as a president-elect of the United States, okay, the presidency is the most powerful position, perhaps in the history of mankind, in history. And the thing that you're doing during this transition is you're selling fake $2 bills for $19.99, in addition to the shoes and the guitars. I mean, this is being advertised on Fox Business, which is the propaganda network of Trump. Just seen on Fox Business, there's a sucker born every minute, Aaron Rupert says. And then this other account called Scary Lawyer Guy goes, the utter shamelessness is matched only by the nothing to see here, folks, attitude of the media industrial complex. I mean, look at that. Trump has to lend his name, image, and likeness and license it for this to happen. So this is Trump being involved in selling fake $2 bills for $19.95. And, the point that I think we all need to make here is that's something that a loser does. Like that doesn't just diminish him, because he's a diminished person with the trappings of all this power, real power right now, but it diminishes our country. And to all of his cult supporters who see that and go, yeah, this is great. Really? I mean, it is the core. It's deeper than just him grifting, because what it does is it sends a message to our allies and adversaries that this guy is a freaking loser. He's a clown. It's why we see the president of France, Macron, and the prime minister of Poland, like doing the handshake with Trump and like mocking him, like handshake with, like laughing. It's like with what all the things that Trump says, we're the laughing stock of the world. We weren't. We were under Biden the most respected. And again, that doesn't make me, to go to the point I made earlier, Cohen, like, oh, that's just a leftist and you're just saying propaganda. No. You know how I know we were the most powerful in the world? Because it was one of the first times where NATO increased its membership by 2 members that are adjacent or close to Russia. That is objective data of real power because President Biden's coalition building. And in international affairs, they're not looking for someone who goes, yeah, you want my guitar? $59.99, I'll get you a guitar. You want a $2 bill? In international affairs, they're looking for steady, able leadership of somebody who speaks soft but carries a big stick. I've said it before, Cohen. Trump's got a micro stick. It's a tiny stick. It's the opposite of what Teddy Roosevelt said. It's about being obnoxious and then not backing it up. I think I've given you this thought experiment before, but it's worth repeating. And I've said, and it's to the brigaders who haven't heard it, I said, if President Xi Jinping of China made a post that he was going to take over Japan and then started posting AI memes of himself on top of a building in Japan with China's flag, and then started saying he was going to turn Japan's leaders into members of the CCP and started talking about them like that, the whole world would believe that there is an imminent invasion of Japan that is about to take place. The very fact that Donald Trump can make posts threatening to conquer Canada and Greenland and Panama, and it's viewed as a troll, even though perhaps it shouldn't be. It shows you that right there is diminished power. That's the ultimate weakness. It's not like 4-dimensional chess. It's that people view you as a clown, and by proxy, the country as a clown. No offense to clowns there, Cohen.
Well, I'm sure no clowns that are still with Ringling Brothers are taking any offense to that. Look, let me say,
I get messages from clowns. Sometimes I get clown messages.
Right. All of a sudden, we're going to start getting mean DMs from clowns.
I've gotten many an email from a clown saying, "Please be more gentle on the clown community."
Oh, well, clowns scare me. Anyway, my point being, when it comes to what's going on here with Trump and in our international standing, the concern that I really have is not so much that he wields a small stick as opposed to in the past, quieter presidents yielded a big stick and so on. The facts are the facts. The fact is that the United States of America has the greatest military in the world by a multiple. Nobody even comes close to us. And what Trump is doing is he's using the success, the might of our military within which to make our adversaries, forget even our allies. He's making the world nervous because you just don't know where he wants to go. He wants to buy Greenland. He wants Canada to be annexed. He talks about taking back the Panama Canal. He talks about maybe even taking Mexico at some point in time. That's one way to stop illegals from coming across the border. This annexation is extremely dangerous because it causes global confusion. That's the problem that we have. This isn't really about the size of the stick. Everybody knows the military might of the United States, and how they all know it, because we are basically in most of those countries right there as a peacekeeping force. This is the whole issue. So I'm nervous to see where folks who are now being asked to come in and to act as secretary of the Department of Defense or the Navy or our Joint Chiefs of Staff. I'm concerned because of the people that are being nominated.
Cohen, let me talk about this topic as well. Just pivot briefly to the annual report that was published by Chief Justice John Roberts of the United States Supreme Court. So every year there's a end of the year report that's published on New Year's Eve, and it talks about the main issues and challenges that the Supreme Court is dealing with. And when you look at what Chief Justice Roberts say are the biggest threats facing the court, he lists four things. He talks about, unfortunately, not all actors engage in informed criticism or anything resembling it. I feel compelled to address four areas of illegitimate activity that, in my view, do threaten the independence of judges on which the rule of law depends. And he goes into violence, intimidation, disinformation, and four is dealing with threats that the Supreme Court's rulings won't actually be enforced by the executive branch. When you read the beginning of his report as well, it's this whole paragraph that deals with December 1761, a little more than 1 year into what would be the 59-year reign of King George III. The king decreed that from the date forward, colonial judges were to serve at the pleasure of the crown. And so he gives this history lesson and then says, this is why we need a strong judiciary and why you shouldn't encroach on the judiciary. And I just think I wanted to bring this up because, one, you probably won't even hear about this report from any other media network other than us. So I think it's worth discussing. But also, Cohen, the irony is, putting it nicely, that Roberts' court, which basically, in my view, treats conservatism as conserving the king by finding that, yes, the president is above the law by inventing a doctrine of absolute immunity, is listing these things. And each of these things so clearly is either a veiled reference to Donald Trump and what the MAGA movement is doing, or not so veiled. And it's like, really, Roberts, that's your message after?
Where was Justice Roberts when I put my writ of certiorari in as the only and certainly the first American citizen to be held by my own country because I refused to waive my First Amendment constitutional right? Why didn't they want to hear that case? So all of a sudden, now he cares. You know why he cares? Because he sees the danger of this incoming administration, that the executive branch intends to do away with not just the legislative branch, but the judiciary. You've heard me say this before. It is part of Project 2025. It is part of what the Heritage Foundation wants to do. There's not going to be judges. You won't need judges. It will all be decided by the executive branch. All power will be conferred to the executive branch. So what's the benefit to be a Supreme Court? What's the benefit? There will be no Supreme Court. There will be no House. There will be no Senate. Everything will run out of the executive branch, and all power will be conferred to the chief executive, who, of course, is the president of the United States. These are not my words. These are the words of the president-elect, who said that he wanted to, on day number one, rewrite the Constitution to do exactly what I just said, to destroy, to pull apart our tripartite system of government. Now, do I think that that's possible? No. Do I think there's a 1% or a 2% chance that it could happen? Sure. I won't say it's absolutely 100% impossible. It's quite unlikely. But even for 1% should send chills running down the back of your neck. That is the essence of our Constitution. It is the essence of our democratic republic. I mean, look, many people turn around and say, how come you're taking a softer approach? You were much harsher during the campaign. Well, of course, because you're campaigning. No matter what I say right now, all I can do is tell you facts and tell you, as you're going to hear in my upcoming Mea Culpa podcast in the introduction, where I turn around and I say to you, we as a community must be together. I can't do this alone. I and Ben cannot do it alone. Democracy is not a two-person sport. It is a team sport. And together, as we continue to grow, not just Political Beatdown with our brigaders, but not just the mea culpa, fans and supporters, but the entire Midas Touch network, as we continue to grow it and our community grows bigger and bigger and bigger every single week, the beauty is it is now a team sport. So if in fact things start going the wrong way, and I think we have to anticipate that it probably will, I can't say for certain, but there's a better than likely chance things will go awry. We have our community, not just for the emotional support, but in order to ensure that the rules that are laid out for us in the Constitution are not ignored, and that our members of Congress do not ignore them.
Michael Cohen, who are you going to give that two-finger salute to?
I think it has to go to Fox News for that absolute lie and the report to which that they gave, as well as to those in the transition team around Trump who literally did nothing. Yeah. I mean, this was just absolutely horrific. And you know what? Shame on Fox News. Just honestly, shame on them. So Fox News, to you and to all of you folks that are there that just keep allowing this misinformation to be regurgitated again and again and again, two-finger salute to you.
Michael Cohen, it seems that because our international audience is so big, they prefer that we do it a little bit earlier in the day.
I was reading the other way, Ben. I'm sorry. We're going to have a disagreement. The bulk of the people are saying after the show.
All right, after the show it is then. I'll defer to you.
No, I'm deferring to our brigaders. You're the one who told them to get involved, right? By the way, just within the next 60 seconds, if you're the ones that turn around and said right after the show, just hit a blue heart real quick. Just bang out a blue heart so that Ben knows I'm right.
And if you said
before one conversation with Ben,
and if you said before the show, do a green heart.
Right.
Green heart before the show, blue heart after the show.
I'm going to time this. 60 seconds, Ben.
60 seconds. Let's go. And while you're doing it, I'll remind everybody about Michael Cohen's YouTube channel at The Michael Cohen Show. I'll remind everybody where the secret link will take place. That's at patreon.com/political beatdown. I'll remind everybody to subscribe to
hearts.
I'm not seeing all those blue hearts. Okay. I do see more blue than green right now, but we will see. Everybody subscribe to Mea Culpa, the blue Mea Culpa, not the red Mea Culpa as well. There are some people doing red hearts who aren't following instructions. The yellow hearts are neutrality. People don't want to take sides. Purple hearts, which again was not the instruction. All right. We're going to go with blue. We're going to go with after. It was blue or green, everybody, not purple or yellow. But blue wins the day. Congratulations, blue. We'll do it right after the show. Cohen, thanks for everything. Thank you, brigaders. It's a new year. Buckle up. We're in this together. We'll be with you every step of the way, fighting for our democracy. Shout out, brigaders. Shout out, Midas Mighty.
Boom.